You ever notice how some friendships don't need daily calls, selfies, or a flood of Instagram posts to prove they exist? The kind where years can pass, but the moment you reconnect, it's like no time has gone by at all. That's the friendship Jaleel White and Malcolm-Jamal Warner had. Most people knew them as characters: Steve Urkel in suspenders with a high-pitched "Did I do that?" and Theo Huxtable, the charming, slightly rebellious big brother in a sweater. But the bond between them? That lived far beyond sitcom sets and scripted punchlines. And when Malcolm's life ended suddenly this year, the private truth Jaleel finally shared, and the last words Malcolm ever left for him, wouldn't just change how people remembered him. It would make the world take a hard look at what childhood fame does to a person, especially when you're black in Hollywood. Now, here's the thing: Jaleel and Malcolm weren't childhood friends. They didn't grow up in the same neighborhood, didn't share classrooms or backyards. In fact, they never even worked together. No joint episodes, no crossover specials, no shared red carpets. But they shared something heavier than any role, an invisible weight that only a few people in the world could understand. Both of them entered show business young. Malcolm landed his breakout in 1984 as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, one of the most watched sitcoms in American history. He was just 14. By the time the show wrapped after 8 seasons, he'd appeared in over 200 episodes, becoming part of the cultural DNA of the 80s and early 90s. Meanwhile, a few years later, a 12-year-old Jaleel White made what was supposed to be a one-off appearance on Family Matters. But his portrayal of Steve Urkel, thick glasses, suspenders, squeaky voice, took over the show. Within a single season, Urkel was everywhere: lunchboxes, T-shirts, dolls. By 1991, Family Matters was in the top 10 highest-rated shows in the country. For the audience, it looked like a dream. But for the kids living inside those roles, it was a different story. Jaleel later admitted, "I wasn't allowed to grow up in the audience's eyes. They wanted me to stay Urkel forever." And Malcolm? He knew exactly what that felt like. After The Cosby Show ended in 92, he intentionally stepped away from sitcoms. He explored directing, spoken word poetry, jazz music, anything to stretch beyond Theo. And yet, no matter what he did, every introduction still started the same way. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, you know Theo from The Cosby Show. That's the trap. When the world falls in love with the version of you from their childhood, they don't always let you grow up. It's not that they don't care. It's that they see memories instead of the living, breathing person standing in front of them. That's where the bond between Jaleel and Malcolm came from. They didn't need to explain it. They didn't need to rehearse it. They just knew. Over the years, they became each other's late-night lifelines. No big announcements, no tweets, no podcasts, just long, quiet phone calls after the applause had faded, talking about everything and nothing. And then came the night Jaleel will never forget. July 20th, 2025. News broke from Limon, Costa Rica. Malcolm-Jamal Warner had drowned. No drugs in his system, no known health problems, just gone. For most people, it was a shock, but for Jaleel, the signs had been there. 3 weeks earlier, Malcolm had called him late at night. His tone was calm but different. He said, "It's not about fame anymore, Jay. It's legacy. But who's going to tell my story?" At the time, Jaleel thought Malcolm was frustrated about a project. Looking back, he realizes it was a farewell in disguise. Hours before his death, Malcolm sent Jaleel a voice note, just 52 seconds long. Jaleel didn't even notice it at first. It was buried under hundreds of notifications. When he finally hit play, the words hit like a brick to the chest. "Jay, this world is loud and rushed, but in silence, we find truth. If I don't make it to tomorrow, just know the ocean gave me peace. Don't cry for me, bro. Carry me in your work." Jaleel never shared that audio publicly. He called it sacred. But at Malcolm's memorial, he decided to speak. It wasn't a Hollywood production, no elaborate stage, just a dimly lit room, candles, and Malcolm's signature black fedora sitting on an empty chair. When Jaleel stepped forward, he didn't try to comfort anyone. He confronted the truth. "This isn't just about Malcolm," he began. "This is about everything we've done wrong to people like him. Black artists are never allowed to be tired. We're told to smile, to be grateful, to never let them see us weak." He told the story of a 2 a.m. call years ago when Malcolm said quietly, "I can't hold it together anymore, Jay. I don't know if anyone still sees me or if they only see Theo." At the time, Jaleel told him to get some sleep, that tomorrow would be better, Now he wished he'd just listened, really listened. Then he looked at the hat on the chair and whispered, "If one day I disappear, tell them I'm not angry. I'm just tired." Someone in the room had been recording. The clip leaked online within hours. And suddenly, the conversation around Malcolm changed. People stopped referring to him only as Theo. They started calling him a poet, a thinker, an artist who left his footprints on water. And then came the discovery that deepened the impact even more. After the funeral, Malcolm's family went through his belongings. Inside a worn leather bag, they found a thick handwritten journal. The entries spanned years, raw, unpolished, deeply personal. One of the first lines read, "I feel like I'm screaming underwater, smiling at the people on the shore while I slowly run out of air." Another entry, "I'm not Theo anymore. I haven't been him for decades, but to the world, I'll never be anyone else." But it wasn't all pain. Mixed in were plans, unrealized, but full of purpose. He wanted to create a television series exploring mental health in Black men. He wanted to tell the stories of people like him, people who made others laugh but were never given permission to show their pain. The idea never made it past his journal, but his words are now being prepared for publication by his friends and family. And here's the remarkable part. His death, and the truth that came with it, sparked something. Actors, writers, and musicians, especially Black artists who'd been typecast or forgotten, started speaking up. Not in PR-safe interviews, but in raw, honest posts. One young actor wrote, "I never met Malcolm, but because of him, I stopped smiling for the camera when my heart was breaking." A Black director, long pressured to make only comedy, announced he was finally filming a short drama about depression among Black men, something he'd shelved for 6 years. He said, "I don't know if it'll win anything, but I know Malcolm would watch it." That's legacy, not just the work you create, but the courage you pass on. Malcolm didn't leave in anger. He left quietly, maybe even peacefully. But in doing so, he forced the world to confront how easily we confuse a person with their public image, how often we see a role but not the human being inside it. And so I'll ask you, who in your life might be smiling underwater right now? Who have you been seeing only as the version they were for you instead of who they are today? If Malcolm's story makes you stop and think, don't let that be the end. Share it, talk about it, carry it forward, because footprints on water disappear fast unless we keep them alive.